Hello, everybody. I'm excited about this week's show. I got a good friend and my mentor, Virginia Drake, coming on, and we're going to be talking about being in our divine heart space. And I'm sure the way she and I always talk, it's going to just flow very well. So welcome, everybody to Soul Talk, and I'm going to be bringing Virginia on. I've known her for it seems like a lifetime now, about 13 years, but I'll definitely be bringing her on. So I'll introduce you. And all right, so welcome, guys. Hi, Virginia. How are you doing tonight?
How are you? It's so good to see you again, even if we're in a snowstorm here. So, yes.
Well, yeah, let's think about that. Maybe we could actually, I didn't even think about that. We could send energy out to the people all over the country that are experiencing that here while we're on the show. So I think the conversation we've been having, well, for a while, but we even had a lot of this when I was up at your house and Christmas time, is that the world is really, I think, starving.
They are
for love in the heart, but it's different. They don't really fully understand this.
No. And I didn't even understand it until I started really recognizing it within me. And I'm almost 70, and I realized it's a deeper experience. It's not romantic. It's, there's not even hardly words sometimes to put that together because it's so deep in my soul. And there is a space, and we've talked about that when you were here for Christmas. And there is a heart space, and it's not about an organ. It's about a space that resonates within you, and you can breathe from it in a way that I'd never experienced. But I started clearing out a lot my heart. I really had to look. I just didn't realize how deep this was, how gratifying it was to really find out within me that I really am a very loving person, but I had held myself back and put the guard in front of my heart. So everything that I was wanting, I wasn't allowing it to happen because I was holding it back. And it came down to trust of myself and the people around me, or the person around me. So this has been amazing times for me to have this kind of time to really focus on me. And I've been blessed by this time of this quarantining because I had to really look. It's almost like I felt the world stopped. Mm-hmm. And it was the first time I really felt everything just stopped. And I thought, wow, this is deeper than I ever realized. And I know I've pissed off some people because I've stood in my truth in a lot of them. And these are people I care about, but it affected me to make me, that opened up my heart even more to be honest to myself. You never thought that would be, but I've had 2 heart attacks. Who would ever guess that's exactly why I had heart attacks? Mm-hmm. Is because I had held back so deeply in my heart that I didn't even realize those blocks were there. And you know how we've talked about, Jeremy, we are very good about each other because you're like my son, and you touch my soul. When you used to call me, or when I'm sick, you call me. My sons don't, but you do. So you're more a son to me than my own. So yeah, that's when you and I can, we touch each other. We can feel each other. And when you get on the phone and call me early in the morning, I get so excited about you calling. And, we do. We have such good conversation when you're on the phone, when you're driving.
Yeah, when I'm driving. By the way, Daniela is on. She says, hi, Jeremy and Jenny.
Yes. Hey!
So she's in. And wow, real quick before we go fun, Daniela and Jenny and I are going to be doing a retreat sometime this year. We'll get dates out soon as soon as we get all that finalized. But, I think, honestly, it's really powerful. Like, one of the things that last year, like everybody, I went through my opportunities, I guess is the nicest way to put it, where the ego was triggered. And I remember having to just sit down and relax and feel that, even the pain, feeling it, because it allowed me to have compassion for myself, and it allowed me to have compassion for other people And even still, and I think that just before you came on and we talked before the beginning of the show, I was starting to feel, I'm like, I know you and I've talked about this before, the passage, the path that gets narrow.
Yes.
And how to navigate it just occurred to me that it's through the heart, and it's through the, not getting caught up in this world. And no doubt that when people are in pain, there's compassion, and no, I don't like to see people in pain. And with that being said, it always reminds me of the Celestine prophecy at the end when they say, don't break the now of the moment.
Yes.
And you can have compassion, but the problem is then they appeared before everybody and they saw them, and it was because they got to that now of the moment with their heart. And so they could have actually helped those people more by staying in the now of the moment.
Right.
And
that's
and I was
the hardest thing in the world, is stay in the now, because you flip yourself back into the past, or you go up in the future. And most of us, we're not in the now. And it is a practice. It's to stay there. And also, I was talking, Tracy. And Tracy called me, and she and I were talking, and she couldn't get this idea of a person out of her mind. I said, well, this is one thing I've learned. I said, and this is to keep you in the now too. I said, when you're talking about anybody more than your own self, you've already taken the bitter taste in your mouth, because that's somebody else. You should be thinking only about you. And that sounds so bad, but people think that, you're self-centered, but you're not. You're really thinking about who you are and thinking about you. But I remember when I got upset about some things that were going on, I kept that person on my mind constantly. So what I was doing is just giving them power, and I wasn't taking anything. So I was feeling weaker and madder, but it was really about my mind doing it to me. And that made me feel bad in my heart, because you feel less. And I thought, I've got to stop, and I remember teaching that many years ago. Anything that comes into your mouth, it's not about you, then you're taking them power, giving them power. So we had a great conversation. You would enjoy talking to Tracy too. So, and she just called me, and we just started boom, boom, boom. And it was about a 2-hour, conversation. And another friend, which is Jennifer, she called me right after that, and she said, "Are you doing something?" She could feel us, because it was so strong. And I mean, it opened up our hearts just telling the truth. And that's what we're talking about, is you don't even realize how much your heart space is really clogged. It's blocked, and it's yucky. I mean, and that's not a good word to say it, but it's hard to complain, to say it when you're in it. And I've been in it. I've been in it for months, looking at myself, reviewing. And that's what my company's called, is revisions, to review it again and review it again. And I had somebody that says, well, do you do this all the time? Well, yeah, 24/7. I absolutely do it, because my job is, I've already died several times. And this time, I'm not going to look back. I'm not going to look back, because I'm finished. And that's more important to me, is that I get it finished here. And I think it's just you and I have done a lot of talking about this. It's important that we find that in our heart.
I want to put in a comment here, and then I want to bring up a point. Natalie just mentioned this, says, so true, don't give your power away. And so I think that's very powerful. But I also wanted to kind of comment on some of the things that you just said, because I'm thinking, like, if we give our power away to somebody, or like you mentioned, your mind is full of thinking about what other people are thinking or what they're doing and all that other kind of stuff. I realized too that one of the most powerful things we can do is work on ourselves. And
yes.
So working on ourselves on a very physical level allows us to interact with people better. It means that we flow with them better, and when they're upset, we can navigate through that and help them out better, and that kind of stuff. And so that just on a very physical level, that is there. And then on an energetic level, the more and more you release, the more and more people feel that in consciousness. And so they naturally heal as well, And so it's just one of those things. Like I was just watching a documentary or something, just a show with Greg Braden. I hadn't seen anything with him in a very, very long time. And he was talking about how the heart actually produces chemicals, and actually, and so we know it actually has physical feelings and thoughts, and not beyond the peptides that we talk about, that Candace Pert used to talk about. But I thought it was super interesting, because then he was starting to talk about how our energy and frequency goes out and it connects to consciousness. Mm-hmm. And so we know when we release and we forgive and everything else, that literally the consciousness goes.
It does. It takes a breath. The universe takes a breath when we really feel that connection. Absolutely. I like Greg, but I haven't talked about him either. But it is a electrical chemical balance in your heart, and people don't understand that either, that we're electrical, and there is a chemical reaction to all of that. If we get hurt, you can feel that, because I've gotten so deep into my body and my beingness that I can feel when things rush up and then they go down. I can feel the pulsating. We have several pulses in our body that I had never even recognized until I opened up my heart space. And they said, and people say, how do you feel that? I said, you feel them. You feel the pulsing of where you are. And it really opens up. I've done this for a long, long time, but now I'm doing it even differently. And that's exciting to me, because I was getting really bored. I think you realize that. I was getting really bored with the same old, and I'm glad I fell down into another pathway, or I've gone deeper into the narrow path. And that's what it is. It's a narrow path that goes right through us. And if everybody would wake up with this, think about what we could do. I mean, just you and I coming together. I feel Denelia there too. And it's like, we can feel each other, and we expand in the universe. That'd be the way I think we could change the world right there, is just being honest with ourselves and honest within what's really going on with us. Like when you said you were talking about somebody's conversation you're having conversation and you're really feeling everything. So I even feel when they move away from me in their mind, and I can feel them when they're engaged. That's a whole different experience.
Yeah, she always gets me in the morning when I'm driving to work, and she'll be like, all right, I feel like it's about ready time for you to go.
Yeah, you're getting ready to go because I can feel you're leaving. And you always say that. Yeah. I can feel that when I'm on with clients too.
I wonder if I feel like you're in Kentucky and I'm in Florida, that we could, for the people listening, even if you're live right now or in the archive, have us both project energy to you and see if you can feel peace. Even if it's just for a second. And then if you can feel peace, then focus on peace coming back to us and then the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm. I radiate a light through my heart, I see a lot of times.
Yeah. Yeah, you can feel that. And Damien says, yes, Miss Jenny. Mwah.
I love that boy.
So I think that this, I don't think this, I know this, because these are the things that you and I have talked about, and I took a break from social media, maybe a little bit forced break from social media, but it was a blessing, because I didn't have to see all the bickering back and forth. And we were talking about just before, we can feel the anger radiating off of people, and I feel for them. I feel the fear in people, of course we all have our own journey, but it's at the same time I have a lot of compassion for that, because I remember what it felt like to be so afraid and to feel like the smallest, or whatever I think is important is going to be gone, and that's a big thing, and that's one of those things. And I remember you told me when I went on my book tour, you're like, there's going to be a lot of great lessons here. And even though the book tour was great, and I came back and Damien says, you look very at peace and rested, but there was still an anxiety going on within me about how am I going to make this happen? What's going to happen when I get back, and all this other kind of stuff. And even though I took that huge leap of faith, it was, and I think that what happens is that, you know, when we got all these fears going on, I mean, one of the things that we have to do is we kind of have to take these leaps of faith.
Yes.
And if we don't, then we'll constantly be in a state of complacency and, you know, a regret, and that kind of stuff. It's like Daniela said at her workshop a couple weeks ago. She said, you know, if you don't take a gamble, you'll never have a life. You know? So
she's exactly right, because like I said, I'm looking at 70 this year coming in. And I've really looked at some of the regrets, and my regrets were the fact is that I had been programmed to think certain ways. So I missed a lot of things, especially in love situations, because I only saw it a certain way. And I didn't realize that there was other ways to see and feel experience of love. So I missed it. And this is what I tell young people that I'm working with. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. It doesn't matter if it scares you or not. Walk through it, because you will look back at my age one day and say, dang, I should have gone on and taken that step and not been afraid. You know, sometimes you feel it. And sometimes, I mean, I did. My leap of faith is when I left my marriage of 30 years. And I remember the fear of that. Oh my God, it still brings me tears, because I was terrified. You know, I had a cushy life. I had a farm. I had, you know, the best cars, and I had a swimming pool, and I had the whole thing, 5,000 square feet. But it wasn't that brought me love. That didn't bring me peace and love. But when I live in my 900 square foot house on Angel Avenue now, and I am so blessed that I get up this morning and I danced around like a little kid, because my next door neighbor had got me a couple of donuts that I absolutely adore. I just love those donuts. And I got up this morning. I was so excited, because I just kept saying, thank you, David, for giving me those donuts. Those are little small things, but they mean so much, because I never really allowed myself to really feel those little details. And I danced around the kitchen with my coffee and my donut. And I thought, what a blessed day, you know? So yeah, that's what the heart space is about too, is that you can feel blessings and love and joy under the worst conditions. And right now we're in not the worst conditions, but I've set a generator sitting in the middle of my kitchen, because we're waiting, you know, if something happens, we're going to start that generator. But so far not needing to. So it's been a real challenge to hold the love of God, of the universe, in my heart space too. I've been holding my trees and holding the snow to go, you know, to be the right way, not being, you know, let's don't have raining, you know, a rain freezing and all of that, because we really have gone through, this is the third storm coming through here. So it's really made me make me stop and say, wait a minute, this is my heart space. And I'm going to create that for me and everybody around me. So far it's been working.
You know, you remind me of a couple things. One is that I just saw the speech recently, and the gentleman said that he was talking about a psychologist that gave last rites or counseled people just before they pass away. Oh. And one question he asked everybody is, he said, you know, what is one thing in your life that you regret? Oh, and wow. 76% of the people he spoke to said, not living my true self.
And they're right.
And so, and I think that even comes down to the smallest little things. And I just kind of want to tell a story, because it relates to what you were just talking about, as well as that my roommate, Sherry, was on the phone with a customer today. And the gentleman was in his car in Texas, and his power was out, and his children and his kids and his wife were in the car with the heat on because they were so cold in their house. And she said, do you have a Walmart or a Lowe's or a Home Depot close by? And he said, yes. And she said, go there, get clay pots and put tea lights under them and put the clay pot over the top of it, and it will heat your whole room, or a whole room, and keep your family warm. You'll be back into your house within an hour. And they did. And literally he texted her back because he got her personal number and said, thank you so much. I don't know what I can do to appreciate it. I know you had done that same thing.
Yes, I did. I just tried it 3 days ago, and I saw about it in the summer, and I had all those clay pots, and I said, I'm going to try it, and it works.
Yeah. And so
it does work.
Heart space is that moment, like she was in the right and perfect place at the right and perfect time to give love to somebody in a point of need. And I really think that, I don't think it, I know it, we're in the right and perfect place at the right and perfect time. How you and I met was the right and perfect place. Damian and I have an amazing story of how we met. Daniela and I have an amazing story. You and I have an amazing story. Natalie and I have an amazing story of how we met. It's just these things, the universe, because the heart space brings us in at the right and perfect time. And so
we have. I look back. Well, we're talking about a generator. I looked for about 16, 17 stores for a generator, and I prayed. I got on my couch and I opened up my heart and I said, if I'm supposed to get this generator, you'll bring it to me. I want somebody to bring it to me. And I did. In less than 12 hours later, I had a man who delivered me a brand new generator, full gas, full oil, and he brought it to me. And I said, thank you, God. It works. It's worked for many times. That's how I got to meet you. I mean, you got to get out of your own way, though. You got to get out of your own way.
You do, and our mind is so cluttered, full of stuff. But I now go. It's different. Like when you met me 13 years ago, my mind was just full of clutter, and now it's like it's a lot calmer. And do I fall into clutter day? I call them clutter days. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yeah.
So do I.
And so do I. And we get in, and then very fortunately, we have friends and people in our lives that will tell us, hey, think you're focusing on that too much. And so it's one of those things, because we have to have those people come into our lives. Got another comment here. Regrets optional. Be you now. Live your life. That's the one you got, and you are here for a reason. Absolutely.
Amen. So, thank you. That's exactly the truth, because I feel that, and I let my whole beginning started at 51 years old for me. I'd had glimpses all my life with this, but I had no idea. But I had to have a near-death experience, and I had several after that. So, and 2019, I should have died, and I thought it was it. I thought this is it. Everything is, and I didn't look back that time, but I was still here, but I got stronger. It's taken a couple of years, but I feel better. And I think you even know that, because I wouldn't have let you come up before if I wasn't prepared.
Yeah, I remember, because I had called you and I said, hey, what do you think about me coming up? And you called me back and later saying, no, not right now.
No. I knew I had to heal. I had some deep, deep healing, and I wasn't going to miss that healing part of myself. We all have an opportunity here, Jeremy. And I'm hoping that, like, the people that are really feeling us, that they really start opening up their heart space and really look down, because they're going to have to take the guard off of the gate of the heart. And also I had it off of my, my third eye too. I had to open up a whole lot of myself and really cried. I mean, I wailed at some of the things. And I was talking to my friend Fran of over 67 years, and she and I went to elementary, high school, and college, and we were laughing about the things in college. And she said, I forgot all about this. I mean, and Yeah, and I mean, I got myself into my poor mother. I'm an only child, and my mother had to look up every time she would see me coming in from Murray. I mean, she gets a call one time from a sheriff, said, "We found your daughter's purse, but we haven't found her body." She was freaked out. And you look back and you think, God, I didn't even think about this, how it affects somebody. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I'm looking at this within myself now, because when I do help people cross over, that's where their biggest regret is, that they haven't told the truth. And the people that are very much awake or, live, they have regret because they didn't tell him, they didn't say anything to anybody when they passed. So that's why people cry at funerals, because they really are in regret more than they are in sadness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the key message that we're bringing here is that heart space isn't about, intimate love. I mean, I guess that can be that can be a part of it, right? And
Right.
but it's about being in this moment. It's about forgiveness. It's about taking a leap of faith for yourself, for your authentic self, quieting your mind. And we also worry about a ton of different things, like I should be doing this right now because I'm at this age, or I should have been doing this because whatever. And then the moments, of course, there's actionable things, and those things happen when they're supposed to happen. It's like we grow at a different level. I remember my first book, I sat there on it from like 2007, and I finally got it done in beginning of 2012. And everybody's like, when's that book going to get done? When's that book going to get done? And I was like, it took me like 5-6 years to get it done. And when it was done, it felt amazing. It felt so accomplished. And it's one of those things, and I'm sure you've experienced this, things where you things happen and everybody else is like, well, why haven't you done this? And so, but the truth is that it happens like when we do it, it happens when it's supposed to.
Right.
But we judge ourselves and we beat ourselves up and we become this critic of ourselves. And that
There's
causes
a problem
more
right there. The critical mind too it's a sabotager for your heart.
Yeah.
It's a sabotager.
And can we talk a little bit about that too, the energy of the body and all the negative energy or the emotions you have in your body? It is very damaging. And that is something that most people know that stress causes a lot of damage to your body, and
Yes.
we still stress. And of course, that's a lot of these programs that we've been in our consciousness that we've been living through since we were children, and for whatever, like
didn't even know you had them. Didn't even know you had them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because I think I had to really look at my programs. I had an experience that happened from when I was in college, and it was a young man that I just didn't recognize him because he would look like he wasn't the kind of guy that I had been programmed to think that's where it was. And I missed him and I cried. I found that, I went back and I realized that was the really nicest guy, because I did not understand men very well because my father died when I was 16. And I didn't have a real good relationship with men. But I didn't also, when I was molested at 7, I was talking to you at the very beginning, I lost my innocence and I got angry about that. I had never thought about that before. And I realized that these children are the ones that we're hurting with their innocence. You have an innocence in there that's a child innocence. And I was wiped out at the age of 7. So, and I got mad about it because I thought, dang, if I had been innocent, I would have probably made a lot of more decisions differently because of what happened before, when you were innocent. And I missed
all the trauma of that.
You don't get to really experience what children experience. For first love, I don't even know what a first love was. It was in high school and he was a football player and that was what I was supposed to do. But I didn't love him, but I thought I did, But I look back and I thought, I didn't even know how to love a man that I was married to for 30 years. Mm-hmm. It was all programmed. And it made me very sad. For the first, I can still almost cry about it. I realized I missed something, and I don't want to miss that. I would really not like to cross over until I really felt somebody could see me and really experience me, looking at my face and really feeling me. Oh my God, what an experience that would have been. And I'm still here. So I put that out, who knows? I never thought, Outlander, ladies, everybody needs to go see Outlander.
She's been watching a show called Outlander, and she goes, the ladies and the gay men need to watch Outlander.
They do. And the men should watch it because of the softness in this man or this character, because it opens up a whole different avenue of how love can really be and what love really is. So, it's open. Heartland too. I do another Heartland. That's where I realized my innocence was gone, because this was love innocence of people, two characters. And I studied to be an actress. So I knew exactly what was going on. I also saw how I could take my programs out. I wasn't looking just at the energy. I was going deep, taking that energy of thought from those series, and I was using them. And that was exciting. I mean, I really opened up myself through that and Outlander. And give me Jamie any day. that's, like I said, I never thought I would even feel like a man again. I haven't been with a man in 20 years. So I never thought that would even resonate in my body or my mind. And it was exciting. I got excited about thinking, oh my God, I could feel that way at 70 still. So that's heart space. And that truly is heart space.
There is, maybe wrap up the show with maybe us putting out energy out there for.
That's heart space.
Yeah, that's heart space.
It vibrates.
Actually, put an energy out there or a prayer out there for all the people around the country that are, going through these winter storms. And, I saw something about Minnesota, my home state, is like 38 below zero. And so, I mean, let's just, everybody set the intention out there that, everybody stays warm and that their power is there, and, that they're safe. And
how about if they open up their hearts, because that's where it begins. I don't even want to put any name into what it is or label it, because we don't know what they really need through their heart center.
Yeah. And they'll be able to navigate, and and then so it shall be. It'll happen.
Yeah, whatever it is.
So, well, I put down in the description of the show Jenny's or Virginia's Facebook. So if you want to connect with her, she's there. And so there's a lot of cool things coming up this year. Very, very excited. And as always, I will have another incredible guest on, my friend Bob Gilpatrick, next week, and we'll be talking about boosting your immune system. And that should be an incredible, and I'm going to be doing a series of that for the next 3 weeks, actually, with different people. So Virginia, always a pleasure to have you on the show.
And I love you, Jeremy.
I love you too. And I'll leave this comment that Natalie just put on there with that, because I thought this was really cool. The big question is, what is love really? Fascinating. So, and I'll leave that on our love space. And much love, everybody. And thank you for tuning in.